Hello. So it's February 28th, and the news isn't good. There was a bombing of Iran this morning, instigated by Israel and the United States, backing of Israel. I actually pulled some cards yesterday, and the predominant cards that came up were the Death card and the Emperor. And I interpreted that as the fall of the tyrant. And, that may still be the case. One can only hope. But knowing what I know now, it seemed that those archetypes were really presenting as the death of many at the hands of the tyrant. And so I wanted to do a follow-up reading. I didn't actually post that other reading. So I wanted to just pull some cards and see what would be helpful for us to know or do, where to look, how to orient in ways that would be helpful, supportive to the collective, both here in this country and in other countries where people are suffering. Just what do we need to know? How can we combat this intense, tyrannical warmongering? So I'm going to pull some cards. I'm going to go silent and concentrate while I shuffle. Okay, I'm just going to say a prayer over these cards. Mm. Mm. So it's an interesting message. And, it's always so hard in times like these to know what to do as an individual. This country is so big, it's hard to formulate any kind of collective action. I don't know where all you guys are, but I live in Los Angeles. And so Los Angeles is such an enormous city in such a big country. It's easy to feel isolated, disempowered, lost in the throng of your own personal life, trying to make decisions about how to navigate all of the personal concerns of being a human being, right? All the very real day-to-day concerns around how to, feed yourself, support your families, keep the lights on, put a roof over your head, all those simple things that are, playing out in the midst of these larger catastrophic, decisions that are being made politically that are completely done in the self-interest of governing powers that are hoarding wealth at the top, that have absolutely no consideration for anyone or anything, not the planet, not the environment, not working class people, there is no consideration being made for, anyone who isn't a part of the ruling class. War only serves to line the pockets of the warmongers, of the defense contractors. And so this feeling of isolation or disempowerment is being addressed here with our friend, the magician. I look like I'm dressed like the magician today, a little bit. The magician is a really important archetype for us to all concentrate on and keep in mind. This idea that we have the power to direct our will to affect outcomes out in the world. This is largely what real magic is considered to be. That we focus our intention with such laser focus that it brings about changes in physical reality. He is the master manifester who has the ability to create in all areas of life based on where he directs his will. And so, where are we going to put our focus? And how are we going to direct it? And how are we going to be mindful of where our thoughts and energy are going? And how are we going to be skillful about not getting lost in the fray? It's so easy in times like this to become disempowered, to be given over to feelings of hopelessness. And the magician is saying, we have the ability to focus our intentions, and it starts by going within. Meditation is a practice of choosing where you're going to place your attention and building the muscle of concentration, noticing when you're getting distracted, getting pulled into other sensory experiences, right? Getting pulled into catastrophic thinking, or even just, the busyness of the mind, getting pulled into overwhelming emotional sensations that are flooding the body. But the practice of meditation is to choose an object of concentration, be it the breath, be it a mantra, be it an image. And every time you get pulled into some other sensory distraction, you gently bring yourself back to the object of meditation. This is a practice for keeping your eyes on the prize, of setting our intention to change the physical reality of the world so that it isn't all being governed by those malevolent forces who wish to subvert all other beings to their will. We take our power back. We become the arbiters of our own reality. And we do this through this practice of staying focused on that which we wish to see. And, you know, it's another thing that is helpful in this regard is to choose our advisors wisely. Hierophant is like spiritual teachers or guides, mentors, therapists, trusted advisors, people who walk the walk in addition to talking the talk, people who have a track record of being principled, being benevolent in the actions that they take, having a wise perspective based on the way that they move through the world. That it is important for us to align ourselves with, there are people like this, you know? So I know it's hard to believe when so many people who've made their way into positions of power are the exact opposite. They say one thing and they do something completely different. And that has never been more apparent than it is now. But it is not to say that all are the people that we might look to for guidance are acting in this out of this deception. So who are our trusted advisors? How can we orient towards them? The other thing that's so interesting here, really, I mean, there's this big emphasis here on again, where we place our attention, how we use the mind as a tool for action rather than getting lost in the mire, rather than being debilitated because we can't see a way out. You know, swords are thoughts, ideas, communication. And the Five of Swords is no ground gained or lost. It's a stalemate. It is like getting stuck in a well-worn neurological groove. And it's, again, it's easy to do when things are painful or difficult or devastating, or this being confronted with this extreme sense of injustice, where people are repeatedly caused to suffer based on the political will of the ruling class, and nothing seems to be done about it. No one seems to be dismantling these systems of oppression. It is easy to get stuck in this mindset of like, there's nothing that we can do. There's nothing to be done. And yet, again, this idea that the way that we focus our minds, what we choose to focus on, what we are, what kinds of narratives that we're choosing to construct. The Queen of Swords is one who has learned to wield her sword wisely. So she only uses her thoughts and words for the betterment of herself and others. She does not use that sword, her mind, on herself like a weapon. She is laser focused on what actions we can take in order to right the ship, so to speak. You know, like the Knight of Swords is like, the time to talk about it is over. It's time to take some action. It's time to do it. It's time to walk the walk in addition to talking the talk. what can we do? How can we continue to stay focused on tearing down these old structures that are so devastating to this planet, to humanity at large? And so then too, in addition to how we choose to focus our minds, it's also how we choose to love, how we choose to open our hearts, how we cultivate and foster compassion for all living beings, how we choose to care about one another, about the ecosystems that we live in, that we are a part of. Cups are love, emotions, intuition. And they're relational. It's a relational archetype, the cup. This how to hold, how to receive deep emotions without being knocked off center by them. So standing and in the pain of the moment and receiving it and not turning away. And in fact, opening our hearts even further to one another in service of helping, of wanting to create a world that fosters love rather than division, which is really what we're seeing right now on such a large scale. So being skillful at this, the masculine and feminine energy of love is all about equal parts giving and receiving. And typically the archetype of the cup is a feminine archetype. And certainly we are in some extreme imbalance, right? It is necessary in order to bring things back into balance to give equal attention to that which we feel as that what we think. So, where we choose to put our focus has a significant effect on what happens out in the world. And what actions we take in order to be heart-centered. It's a disheartening time. So I get it. I understand why or how it's so easy to just feel hopeless. And yet it is necessary for us to stay in it, to take our power back, to understand that we are empowered to change the fabric of reality, and that we can do that by staying focused on what symbiotic systems look and feel like, rather than hierarchical systems, which are really representative of a death cult at this point. Death cult. Again, I just want to show you the cards that I pulled. I think these images are powerful. They help us to focus our attention rightly. Images transcend language. It's an instantaneous recognition. It goes straight to the unconscious. And, this is a strong principle of psychology, that which resides in the unconscious, it has the power to direct our thinking. So these are the cards that I pulled yesterday. The tyrant causing death and destruction. But again, I'm going to just flip it. What happens if these destructive forces can help eliminate the very people who would perpetrate them against others? Keep your eyes on the prize. Many blessings to you and much love.